Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Love Your Business Mom. We are going to be teaching you hard lessons on how to survive in business with the warmth and brutal honesty that only a mother can give. I am here with Kimmy Coleman. She is a ray of sunshine in my digital world, and I would love for you to get a chance, Kimmy, to introduce yourself to the listeners. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you're doing now.
Yeah, I'm Kimmy Coleman, and I'm just so happy to be here. Before I go into any intros, I'm just like honored that you would have me on the pod, Anna. You are also just as much of a ray of sunshine in my digital world as well. You
Thank
make
you.
LinkedIn not stuffy and dry and ashy, so I appreciate that. But I'm Kimmy Coleman. I'm a founder and a creative director of my company called Little Dove Solutions, where we help churches and mission-led brands with all of their digital strategies so that they can show up as their most authentic self.
And how did you get to this point? What did you do that all culminated in the work that you do that's so purposeful now?
Yeah. So I'm a pastor's kid. Like I grew up in ministry and it's funny, I was having this conversation with someone recently about how when you're a pastor's kid, you have like a full fledged resume by like 12 because you're like doing all the jobs. You're like playing in
Right.
music and like you're helping out with the media and you're doing public speaking and it's so much, but I think it really set the stage for all of the things that I do in life in general. So like when I saw the opportunity to go from hospitality to like this platform, I felt like why not? I've been in the corporate space for a bit, hospitality for a bit, in the industry because I am an actor. So that's always like the drive of what I do, is like showing up in an authentic and an entertaining way in every space that I'm in. So I figured if I could do this for everybody else and I can make their brands exciting and connect with all these different people, I can do it for myself and, take that leap of faith. So that's what I'm doing now.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful. I'm so inspired by you. One of the things that made me really want to reach out and have you, showcase on here is I feel like you're such a great example of living in a way that aligns with you and your values and your purpose while also not being afraid to try new things and do things that haven't existed before and, kind of be creative in your business adventures. I don't feel like living a purpose driven life and having a purpose driven business has to be boring or sad or
Yeah.
anything like that. And so I would love to dive a little bit more into Little Dove Solutions, what you're planning to do, how you're going to help people, and we'll continue to go from there.
Yeah. So I feel like it started out specifically with churches and it's kind of morphing into this like creative studio where I'm helping some founders of mine. So, like, a
Yeah.
church might be very established and they have a very powerful presence in the community, but their website looks one way, their Instagram looks another way, their Facebook looks another way. So, I really want to bring that kind of cohesion, in an authentic and down to earth way. So, I don't want to come in as like this like professional that's going to stir everything up, but more like
Yeah.
I understand what you guys are going through. I understand that a lot of church leaders may not know where to start, how to go about it. So that's what Little Dove does, both for church leaders and then also mission led founders. So one of my first clients, maybe actually my first client outside of my church,
Yeah.
they are starting a company where they're helping global creatives like international artists that maybe try to branch out across borders and
Hmm.
immigration and stuff is crazy. And so they have such a powerful message and product, but they don't have like the guidance to
Mm,
bring it to life and someone to do
yeah.
that in a way that's not going to feel overbearing. So that's what I provide. So it's social strategy, it's branding, it's copywriting, it's giving your church or your brand a voice that feels authentic to you. And then it's also if they want like a full brand refresh, I do that as well.
Yeah.
So website, brand guidelines, all that good stuff is what I provide. Yeah.
That's incredible. So you mentioned having, different stuff in your background. I'm very similar. So hospitality, all these different things. Did you have
Yes.
kind of a eureka moment or like a aha moment that you were like, oh, I need to go into this side? I would love to hear about that.
Yes. It's so funny because I'm like, I don't know how deep you can go.
Go as deep as you want.
Okay, not to dive in. Let me put
Okay.
my
Let's
snorkel
go.
So I was actually married about 2.5-ish years ago. And
Mhm.
so my ex-husband was a also an actor. And so at that time when we were, like newlyweds trying to figure things out, I realized I didn't want to do hospitality anymore. And so I stepped away from that. And I was like, all these auditions are getting kind of weird. Like commercial auditions were very much like, send me a picture of your armpit, like left and right for this deodorant commercial. And I was like, absolutely not. Please drop me off your roster. Like,
Yeah, what?
I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And I started thinking or realizing that I had good business sense because I was working at the time, like I found a good middle ground where I was doing hospitality recruitment. So I was helping this other startup find like the right like head chefs and general managers, and I was working directly with the restaurants and the hotels. And I started realizing that the founder and the CEO were like really into my ideas and like this is really good. I'm like, yeah, it is really good, and that just naturally came to me. So why am I doing this for y'all instead of doing it for myself? Saying all that to say, I was like, I had a very clear moment when things were getting contentious with that founder where he was
Mhm.
actively like going against, like kind of sabotaging his own business. I was like, this makes no sense. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
And at the same time, like going through these weird auditions, I was like, all right, how can I avoid the audition process? How can I be the person that I'm looking to hire me? Does that make sense? So like, who's the
Yeah.
person that's making the hiring decision for me to be in this commercial or this movie or this short or whatever? And how can I become them? So that's when
Okay.
I kind of had that eureka moment. I'm like, I'm not gonna audition. I'm gonna be the boss and then hire myself.
Love
And
it.
that's kind of what led to like not my divorce, but more like realizing that I had a bit more to offer just in general. Because my ex-husband was comfortable in like being in that like actor only place. And I was like,
Yeah.
why can't we be a power couple? We can do so much more. Like we could do so much more than
Yeah.
this. And so, and then also I will say, I can't discount my business advisor, like business friend, business bestie. His name is James Morrell, and he has been, let me tell you, girl, like such a great friend. And so he was
Yeah.
actually a consultant, like CEO, whatever you want to call it, at that hospitality startup. And so we both realized at the same time that like this man is not, we're not
Mhm.
gonna make it out on the other side unless we do something. And so he really saw like and picked up on the business stuff that I was putting down. I
Yeah.
was like, you're high key better than this. I have a position for you, and that's how I got into corporate. So I was
Wow.
able
That's
to,
amazing.
yeah. And he's been a huge ally throughout that whole like crazy corporate experience. And so him really believing in me, and of course having the support system that I have with my family
Mhm.
made me realize like, you know what? I could go for this. Things are kind of spicy and contentious with life, but I believe enough in the people that I have around me and what they say about me in the best way that I can do this. Yeah.
Beautiful. I love when somebody just shows up in your life and becomes the mentor you didn't know you needed.
Yeah.
I've had those and it's such a blessing. I think that's so amazing that you have that. And we'll definitely shout him out in the show notes. You'll have to get me his socials.
Yeah.
Yay, we love him. Um,
Great.
no, that's beautiful. But I do want to go back a little bit because you kind of tied in your personal and your professional all in one, right? And so you're talking about, hey, I'm having these moments on this work that I'm doing, realizing I'm better than this. I can do more than this. Someone believes in me. At home, I'm trying to do more. He's not. So do you feel like those two things kind of happening at the same time? Is it the fact that it happened at the same time that made you have those realizations? Or do you feel like
Mm.
is it cycle? What's kind of your thought on like how your personal life going up and down really plays into work?
Uh, it's so strange because I feel like I don't know if I would have pushed as hard as I did if it
Mhm.
weren't for the things that were going on personally, which is why I'm such a huge advocate for like, yes, we got to keep it professional, of course, and like be as professional as possible, but you can't discount things that are going on in people's lives or like lives or act like it's not happening. So
Right.
that like I was very upfront with my bosses at the time when this
Mhm.
was happening. I was like, listen, I'm going through a divorce. And funny enough, work became the outlet that I needed to like push things along, you know?
Yeah.
And it was that outlet until it wasn't. And I realized I had to do something for myself. But I do feel like those things, they work in tandem. Like
Yeah.
what's going on in your life definitely fuels the decisions that you make and like also the future that you see for yourself. So like that's been the big driver for me is like, am I comfortable with where I am now, personally and professionally? And is there more? Like, isn't there somewhere else to be? So I feel like they flow, they like merge together in the best way.
I
Yeah.
love I feel like people often forget because of all the technology we have now and all these things, they kind of forget there's people running businesses and that there's people being involved in every single process. Like, even if,
Yeah.
this girl Jasmine makes this sweater, well, someone else made the material for her to do that. And I love that you center that in your work. I'm curious if what you're building now with your business and the exciting podcast that you mentioned coming up with your mom that I want to get
Yeah.
into, for the listeners who don't know, Kimmy and I, we talk a lot, so there'll be a lot of
Yeah, me
references
too.
that we'll have to clue you in on. Uh,
Very true.
but I would love to know how building these things of your own that are fully in your vision, like, is that playing a part in your personal healing at all? And I would love to know more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So
Yeah.
I feel like I wouldn't have been able to start and launch anything if I wasn't in a place of like being like 80+ % healed. You know, like
Mm,
I spent the past 2 years like really in the trenches of the decisions that I made, the decisions that I want to make in the future. And like it was a very difficult process. And so I feel like now that that process is over, like now that I've done the work up front, I can actually step into this with joy. And there's so much joy now in everything that I'm doing and the way that I connect with people, like, just authentically like reaching out. Like even the way that we started talking, I was like, man, I like what this woman is doing and I'm gonna tell her, you know, and a lot of
yeah,
the
that meant
things
the
that
world to me when you sent that message, so
yes.
thank
I
you.
was like, yes, I see you. The encouragement, like the allyship, the way that you're highlighting and putting people on platforms. I was like, this someone needs to tell this woman that this is tea and this is great. Like someone must
Thank you.
and yeah, and like that's the way that I am in my personal life. Like my friends make fun of me all the time that I'm that lady that will run up to someone on the
Yeah,
street and be like, those shoes, those shoes, those shoes, those are great.
right. But the
Like
shoes are
you need
great.
to know. Someone needs to tell you today before you get back to your apartment or your house or your commute or whatever that those shoes are it. You need to know that. Like the fact that I can operate in that way in a business sense is really what is bringing me joy now and is really healing my inner child to be like the encourager that I knew that I could always be and you know the advocate that I knew that I could always be and the connector of people like being able to put different people on that are working on this and this person's working on that and like seeing their dreams come to life is like that's my dream come to life is connecting people. So that's been very healing for me. It's like fully being myself. Yeah.
So it seems like relationships play a big part in your life, good or bad. And obviously, you,
Yeah.
as someone who's encouraging of others, I definitely relate to that. It seems like you do a lot of that legwork in supporting people and putting good energy out. So, who pours into your cup? Like, who supports you? Who are the people? I know we've got our business mentor, shout out again.
Yes.
But who are the people who really pour into you and give you support? Because I assume you have that because you're a light, you're not drained, you're not burnt out. So, tell us more about that. Let's shout those people out.
Man, I it all for me starts with God. So like that relationship is everything to me. Like I feel like when I again was in that time, I feel like I keep bringing it up. I'm like, we're in the present
It's
now,
okay.
Kimmy, but it really does relate to so much of what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And I kind of there was a disconnect. So I thought I was good. I thought it was Gucci. I thought everything was popping, lock and dropping, ready to go. And I was like, it's
Right.
not because that connection was not it was out of obligation. So
Mm,
again, back to that pastor's kid thing is like you grew up in church and you're doing all of these things, but you may not fully understand why. And so
right.
that's kind of the lens that I was looking at it through. So there wasn't that relationship, you know? So
Yeah.
that's really the foundation of everything that I do now, which is why I'm so upfront about it, because I'm like, if I didn't have that connection to God, if I didn't claim Jesus as my savior, I would not be where I am now. And so that's like, that's something that's eternal. You know, God is not one day going to be like, bro, I'm packing it up. I'm tired of y'all. Like, he is constant. You know, so there's that constant pouring and that constant filling, and that's what allows me to pour out into others. And then I would definitely say my family. I used to think of them as my biggest ops. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah.
My mom, my sister, my aunts. Like I used to be so like, again, when you're disconnected to that source,
Hmm.
like there's always contention. I feel like that's what at least that's what I felt when I was disconnected. But since coming into like the fullness of my faith, the fullness of who I am, I've only seen those relationships get more rich and more vibrant. And they definitely pour into me as well. My mom, my sister, James, my whole church community, my friends. Like I just find that the more that I'm able to show up as myself is the more those relationships really are a two-way street. And then also, of course, boundaries. So when I come across someone that is not meeting that energy or is a I don't know, like a suction cup, whatever you want to call them. They're just,
Yeah, they call them energy vampires or something. That's what I've
yes,
heard.
energy vampires. Sometimes I call them firefighters. Like you're on fire and they're just like, girl, you're doing too much. Like I did not call the brigade. Leave me alone. Like those, I feel like now that I have my energy up, I'm so
Yeah.
conscious of those people now that those boundaries are very in place. Yeah.
How do boundaries play into your professional life? Because you're doing something you're really passionate about. A lot of times when I meet founders who they have some kind of purpose or some kind of like higher calling or mission, they're like, go, go, go. So, how do your own boundaries or your boundaries with your clients, how do those play into how you're building your business?
That's what I'm trying to figure out now. Keep it so a buck. I feel like I am of Jamaican descent. So I don't know if you
Mm.
know, like, there's this living color joke about how Jamaicans have like 3 jobs minimum. And that's
Yeah.
like, that's what I'm struggling with right now is like making sure that I turn it off. So before, when I was working for someone else, there was
Mhm.
that like drive because of not wanting to disappoint anyone. And now that I've increased the value or that I see or how I see myself, if that makes sense. Like I see myself as more valuable than I did before. And so it's kind of above that now. So I'm working. Like I have to remind myself that I'm not doing this alone. It's me and God. He's my business partner, number one. Like we're doing this together.
Yeah.
And if he could rest on the seventh day, I need to stop working at 7 p.m. Like that's just
There you
the
go.
way that I'm trying to
I love
operate.
that.
So yeah, I'm still building those boundaries is that would be my answer to that.
I love that. I
Yeah.
don't think you ever have everything figured out at one time. I like that you're
Not even
honest about
close.
it. Every season that we go through, I feel like we're learning to master a new thing, and maybe
Yeah.
boundaries is yours right now. What would you say prior to working on boundaries? What was the last, work or personal thing you had to master to kind of get your life together and keep things going?
Let me see. I'm trying to think of something that I've mastered. I don't think I'm ever gonna like arrive. I'm like, yeah, we got this on lock. I don't think so. But
Okay, where'd you
I
get
would
to 80% on something recently?
I would say my eating habit.
Okay.
Like the first week after like stepping away from that job and stepping into um founder or entrepreneurship or whatever full time,
Mhm.
I had such a binge sesh. Like that weekend I had like I don't know if you know the like chiplet sandwiches from Trader Joe's.
Mhm.
They were so good. And I had a whole box and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna watch my anime because I worked so hard this week.
What were you watching?
And I was watching One Piece. Wait, no, no, I wasn't.
Okay,
One
no
Piece didn't come
spoilers.
back yet. I was watching Solo
Okay.
Leveling. Solo
My
Leveling
husband
is,
loves that show.
yes, it's so good. He has good
It's
taste.
intense. He does, he
It's
does.
very
He's got a
intense.
whole long yeah, he has a whole
Yes.
long list of things I have to watch, so it's on there, but it's
Yes.
low because 'cause I'm a little bit I jump
Yeah.
scare very easily, so
That might not be for
and I
you.
watched the
It
first
has like,
episode of that one. I watched it and I was like, "Oh, yeah, this is gonna go below, like, Naruto and all the, like, cute little kid shows."
wait, Naruto has to, like, if you haven't watched anything else, that should be your first
Right
one.
now, it's in my list.
That's Yes,
Yeah.
that was my first one. That was my gateway drug to anime, was
That's
Naruto.
so cute. Mine
He's
was
so precious.
Bleach, which is that show. Yeah, that one's great. And he
I
has like the blonde hair.
Yeah, I'm weird with animes where I'll like start one and then like even with One Piece, I started and it was like trash. Watch something else. And then I came back and now it's like my number one. Like I feel so
I
connected
love
to the
that.
characters. So yeah, it's one of those. I don't know if you're the same way where you like watch
No, I
one
am
episode
because
and you're
like,
like,
have you seen Cowboy Bebop? It's only like 26 episodes,
yes,
and it was like so. Here's the thing about me and TV, right? So if I'm
right.
doing something mindless, I can watch a show like low stakes, right? Like reality TV
Yeah,
stuff that's like whatever. But Cowboy
yeah,
Bebop is like a piece of art, and so when I was watching Cowboy Bebop, I would try to catch up on it and be like, okay, I'll watch an episode while I work on the spreadsheet tonight, and I just couldn't stop watching it. So I had to like allocate.
yeah.
It took me months because I would have to find this little 22-minute pocket of time to
Yes,
like
yes.
watch Cowboy Bebop, but I'm through it. Oh my gosh, amazing.
So
Amazing.
good. So good. And I find like weirdly enough, I started watching the live action one before and I was like, I must return to go back because I love the oh my God, I'm so bad with actors' names. Like it's either
It's
they're
okay,
right
me too.
there or I have no idea. But oh my goodness. The one who plays the main cowboy Bebop, if that's
Yeah,
I haven't watched this in such a long time. But I just remember
yeah.
being like so entranced by him. I was like, I need to know why you are the way you are before I get into this performance. This is so good. Yeah.
It's incredible. I feel like you connect with every single character at different points and like even characters you're not sure you're gonna like. And what's really
Yeah.
funny is with like Bleach in particular, I'm seeing it with Naruto. I definitely saw it with Cowboy Bebop. I love
Yeah.
how in this case like anime always changes something in my work life, which is kind of funny. Like I only watched part of it because the show went left, but I watched part of Black Clover and the little kid
Yeah.
just being like, I'm going past my limits was like kind of encouraging when I was like trying to finish my
Yes.
bachelor's degree. So I think it's funny that this like shonen anime that's like the little boys like as like grown women we can appreciate it
Yeah.
too, and I love that.
It's so true. And even like I also love how there you get to see their story from beginning to end. Like Naruto, you see, I'm not gonna tell you all of it, but like
Please,
you
please don't.
really grow with the that's all I'll say. You'll grow with
Yeah,
the character. And I mean, if you've already watched some of it, you see like Naruto's attitude is like, man, we riding. I don't know.
yeah,
People don't believe in me. I'm the outcast. Nobody trusts me or
right.
whatever. But I'm out here, you know, and
He's like I'm the best actually.
I'm the day by oh, like get out of here. Like I love the way that he just goes for it. And I would
Hmm.
agree that a lot of the now that we're talking about it, like a lot of the animes that I watch have that same storyline where it's like no one believes in this dude or this woman or whoever,
Yeah,
and they're just out here like you'll see. And that's kind of how how I operate in business as well. It's like I ain't gotta show y'all nothing. I was like, you'll just see. I don't have to tell
yeah.
you. You'll see.
It's here. You're
Yeah,
welcome. Like
exactly. Yeah.
exactly. I love that. I love
Yeah.
that we've been through God, anime. We've hit some hot topics actually really quickly.
That's so true.
But back to you. I love knowing that you also are inspired in business by anime. What else
Yeah.
from like your daily life helps you have these little like business moments and business epiphany? Like for me, like music always helps me. Like what helps
Yeah.
you?
Oh, I've seen your Spotify post. I've seen. Uh, I would say the same actually. Music
Yeah.
helps me to lock in so much. So I'm a drummer also, 'cause again, the pastor's kid. Like I've been drumming since I was 8.
Yeah.
So like I feel like that informs weirdly enough like the timing of when I do things. I know it seems far-fetched, but it's like sometimes I just know that something the time for this is like this is just
Yeah.
and I don't know if that's like a drummer thing or an intuition thing, but that informs a
Maybe
lot.
both.
And maybe both. Yeah. And like music definitely helps me to lock in. So I find that I can always change the mode that I'm in, and I'm sure this is with everybody, based on what I'm listening to. Right
Yeah.
now, what helps me lock in a lot is the Succession playlist. Like have you seen Succession? It's a
No,
crazy.
I've seen all the hype, but I couldn't. I have too many shows that I was like, I'll get to it when I get
I put
there.
it off for so long too because I
Yeah.
feel like it was during 2020 when people are like, "Oh my God, this is great," and I was like, "I can't watch all those white people at once." I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm like,
No, it's a
everything is
valid thing
crumbling
though, the
down.
vibe is different.
It is.
It's a different
It took
energy.
it took
Yeah,
too long. Like it took me a while before I could watch it, and then I was like, oh wait, this is really good, and the music is that girl. So yeah,
that's funny. We joke
yeah.
at
So
my house,
definitely
there's a
music. Yeah,
playlist, by the Bridgerton series. You know, they have all those violin covers of, like, songs you
yeah,
know? And I love
yeah,
it because, like, I can't sing with somebody and type something out, but I can, like,
yeah.
hum it in my head without the words, and I'm just like,
Eh,
"Okay," you know?
Walking. I love
Exactly,
that
that's
playlist. Maybe
funny.
I'll add that. Yeah, I like
Well, I'm
that.
gonna add Succession, but just, like, no spoilers because I have so far to
Yeah.
go on that.
No, no, I don't think I'm one of those people that I'll watch a show and like 3 weeks later, someone be like, "Oh, do you remember?" I'll be like, "Nah, fam, that
So,
joint
no,
is
let's watch it again, run it back.
running back because that is completely gone."
That's
Yeah,
hilarious. Well, okay, so it's funny because with music and anime and people and all these things, I personally feel like, and I feel like this is something that you're gonna agree with, that your environment can really affect your
oh,
productivity, how you can tap into your creativity. And I noticed recently that you've been starting to go to IRL events and connect with other
yeah,
creators and get out in the business world. So I'd love to hear more about, any recent events you've been to, how that's helping you as you grow your business. Because as a founder
yeah.
myself, I started and got really hyped during COVID when I couldn't go anywhere. And so I'm curious to learn, I'm sure listeners are too, about what that experience is like.
Ooh, it's everything. I love, like, I really love people. Even though I joke that I have a social battery akin to an iPhone 4, I still
Not a
love
four.
people. Definitely a 4. Like,
Okay,
we're a few steps away from, like, the original iPhone. We're at a
that's
4
rough.
right now. Yeah, yeah. But it's because I, like, really I love meeting new people. I feel like every single person is, like, a little, like, there's a whole story. Like, someone
Yeah,
like on the macro level, somebody was born and lived a whole life up until the moment that you met them. And you get to figure out like what is it that they want to share with you? What do they feel comfortable sharing with you? Do they even want to get to know you? Why? Why not? Like it's so people are so interesting to me. I think that's what drew me into acting. So that whole thing has informed how I network. So there's a lot of curiosity that goes into it. Bro, what happened to you when you were 12? Like low key. That's kind of my approach. But those events, so I think I was saying I went to a creator economy event, where I met
shout out creator
Mimi.
economy. Yes,
Yes, creator economy NYC and shout out
we
Brett.
love you.
It was, yes, it was so good. And I was
Yeah,
expecting it to be like, I don't know why I was expecting it to be like musical theater kids on drugs. Like it was just gonna be like all these people like,
yeah,
like recording everything and like overly performative. But it was not that
yeah.
at all. Like everyone was
I love
very
that.
down to earth. That was really what gave me like it gave me a new lens, not only on the tool side, because they were talking about like tools that you
Yeah,
can use as a creator, but also on the like oh, hold on. Like people are out here as creators full time, as founders full time, and they're making it work. And so for someone that like has that acting background and that creator background and all that stuff, because in 2020 that's what I was doing. I was like doing YouTube and learning Japanese and like it was a whole thing. I was like, we need to bring that back. Like, why not? That's what I left with.
yeah.
Going to these networking events allows me to leave with like a man, why not? I'm gonna do it too. Like,
I
they have
love
their whole
that.
thing. It's like, F it, create at creator
Yeah,
economy. And that's the attitude that I left with. Was like, man, I'm gonna go post something. I'm gonna go do something. That's what I want to do. Yeah.
and your posts are great. I've really enjoyed the stuff you've been putting out. I feel like it's getting received really well too. So I'm glad you took that nod. You're like, I'm just gonna post. Like, don't even worry
Thank
about it.
you. Yours
Of
too. Like, I love
course.
the fact that you
Thank
have
you.
all these different theories. I'm like, and again, I'm tapping in. I
I
love
love
it
to be
all.
organized because it's like, oh, it's Tuesday. Let me talk about what you can do with your tablet. Like,
Yeah.
I love a recurring thematic thing, and it's really
Yes.
fun.
Yeah. I want you to know too that I literally, actually, I'm gonna show you. I put stickers
Okay.
on my iPad because of you. I was like,
Oh, you're so
and
cute.
like if Anna can be stunting
Yeah,
with her tablet, I'm like, all these stickers, I'm like, where should I put them? Like, I'm gonna put them on my tablet. I was inspired by that. So just
that's
letting you know that
adorable.
doing real life things. It has real life
Thank you.
impact outside of the digital space. Yeah.
PSA, if you need a gift for Kimmy, get her a custom sticker she can put on her iPad. She'll always
Yes,
see it.
please.
She'll think about you. Don't get
She
whatever one
will.
I'm gonna get, but yeah. So as you use your iPad more and you get in more in your creator bag, obviously there's two sides to it, right? So you're gonna be able to promote your business, reach more people. I love that for your mission. You're also gonna be able to do personal branding on your own, which is its own kind of realm. It sounds like you're warming up to. So if you had to pick a dream collab of someone to work with, either to collaborate with in efforts in your business or to collaborate with for like sponsored posts and activations and content on the personal side, what would you say? And it could be anything.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I don't know. Let me think about this. Feel like, ooh, I've always wanted to collaborate with YouTube. Like just in
That.
general, like as someone who's on the platform and I worked with them when I was in 2020 when I was like doing my own
Yeah,
like YouTube. There's collaboration there because you're growing your channel, so you see the studio stuff.
yeah.
And then in my previous job, we were supporting their like creator initiative because
Okay.
we did, yeah, so we did like
Yeah.
loyalty programs at my previous company, and we did one for creators, for YouTubers, and I was like 200 subs shy of like who could get like the rewards that we were giving. I was like, dang, I gotta get
That's
back into it.
awesome.
So it would be so cool to work with YouTube again. And then also, I really like Angel Studios, the ones that produced the show The Chosen. I don't know if you're familiar with
Okay.
it.
Yeah. I've seen
Like
the
the whole
clips.
like, ooh, that show,
Yeah.
I'm like, let me wipe my mascara off from now because every single time I watch it, it's so good. The acting is good. And it's like, it's so aligned with what I envision myself doing as a producer. So I've
Yeah.
always said that I want to make content that is holy but not corny. Like
Yeah.
I can't take a Christian movie where it's like no one cusses and like no one is real about what's going on. It's like, girl,
Except for
real life
robot. Like,
is like, oh, the Lord is so good in this circumstance. Let me go into my prayer closet. Like no one talks like that. So I've always said that I want to be like the Kirk
yeah.
Franklin of media, you know, like
I
where,
love that.
yeah, where Kirk is a little
Yeah.
spicy and his music is like, they're
He
playing
makes
it at
songs
the
with
club.
Glorilla now. Like,
Exactly. Like that. So that
yeah.
would be, I see that in The Chosen where it's
So
authentic
cool.
and well done and relatable. It's not like Jesus is out here like floating on water. Like he makes jokes. He's real. I
Yeah.
see the Jesus that I have a relationship with or am in relationship with is the Jesus I see on that screen. And I'm like,
That's
that's what I
beautiful.
want to do. So
Yeah.
a collaboration with Angel Studios, YouTube, yeah, and Pimsleur. I was working with them as well. The language
Yeah.
learning
I
ones.
was gonna say for the
And so
Japanese, I assume.
yeah, so they
Yeah.
reached out to me and I started using their platform and then I just went dead and they went dead. So revamping that relationship would be cool.
That's beautiful. Okay. And maybe with the language, maybe they can sponsor some travel. I mean, we can ideate for
Right.
days, but I want to see you just claim all the things. I feel like there's so many cool, awesome things you could do. And I love seeing you expand a little bit more every time we talk. This is awesome.
Thank you. You too, Anna.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I'm doing my best. So I am here to bring everyone a lesson from your experience. And I feel like there's probably 15 different lessons that I could learn from this conversation. But one that really stood out to me is ideas of, and you've mentioned these in how you kind of talk about your work, authenticity and support. And I think in my mind, you want people to show up for you. You want people to support you. You want people to support your business. But I feel like you're a great embodiment of the idea that you have to show up in a very openly supportive way to the world and to everyone else before that energy can really come your way consistently. And so
Yeah.
I feel like for me, what I'm gaining from this and the lesson that I would teach from this conversation would be that, create the support that you want to receive, right? It's the idea of like treat others the way you want to be treated, those kind of ideas.
Yeah.
But I think specifically, like, show the support that you want to receive. And if you agree with that, then I would love to know what kind of action items you would give the listeners if they want to start living in that kind of way. What's something they could do today or something they could work towards to be showing up with that kind of support so that they can get it back?
I feel like it's kind of like you can't expect anybody to give you anything back, you know? Like that I feel like is the biggest thing is just showing up without any expectation of what you can get from it. You know, like I'm showing up because I want to let you know this thing that I feel like you need to know and it's going to brighten your day. And if the conversation ended there, like if we didn't, if God forbid, I mean, obviously it didn't happen, but if our conversation ended with just you knowing how I felt about how great everything you're doing is, I would be satisfied. You know, like that's enough for me. And I feel like that's one of the biggest changes. And for something that somebody can walk away with right here and now is let that person know. Like people always say, give people their flowers before they pass on in this world. And I think that's the biggest thing is like, how can you, if you think something is cool, say it. Say it. Let that person
I
know. You
love it.
never know. Yeah, like what they could be
Yeah.
going through that you might spark in them or like you don't know what kind of day they might be having that you just being authentic about how you feel and a little bit bold because you have to be open to being rejected sometimes people are like you're weird like your energy I'm like okay then I just won't talk to you anymore you're lost.
Yeah, like, sorry, you can't see the greatness. But, I think that's more maybe the lesson is more like, don't like, it's not even don't be afraid, it's like, don't hesitate to show up, like, don't hesitate
Yes,
to support, don't hesitate to be bold and say kind things, I love
yes,
that.
that's like the whole
Yeah,
thing is like even
yeah,
being a business owner is like you have to or founder or whatever it is you have to just act and that's like the biggest lesson that I'm learning in this season is I can't sit and think too much about like, oh, am I going to do this and this and this? Like, I just have to go. Because the more I sit and think is the less that gets done. So that's like the biggest thing, whether it's showing up for people and encouraging somebody or like
yeah.
building a website and just putting it out there or you just have to go for it. Yeah.
That's beautiful. I love that. I have a question for you. So, season one of Love Your Business Mom, every season has kind of a theme. And the theme of this season is family values. And so, not in any kind of connotation or weird way, but in the example of in my family, right, with my husband and my beautiful children, one of our family values is being honest. And so, it's like if you're going to
Mhm.
be doing something bad and you tell me, you get in a lot less trouble than if you don't. And it's something that I carry into my work. I deal with a lot of personal data and sensitive things. I have to live very like
Yeah.
transparently and honestly. And
Yeah.
so, what would you say in your family is a value that you carry into your work every
I would say there's two things that stand out to me. I would say
day? You
one
can
from
say
my dad
two.
and one from my mom. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I love it.
So my mom is very like it's always been a thing where you work hard. Like that's from both my parents, honestly. There's a Jamaican saying that says, if you want good, you know it's have to run. And that means like if you want something good, you're gonna work at it. Like you need to hustle if you want to bring that to life. And so that's something I always take with me is like I can't sit around and do nothing and expect like
Right.
great things to find me. And then my dad, I think I actually on one of your posts I put this when you
About
gave
him
that
being
post
your
about
hero.
yeah, about coach. Um where he said that nothing in life is permanent, or he said everything is temporary. So when I'm going through difficult times or I feel like something is overwhelming, I always think like it's temporary. Everything in life is temporary. It's not going to last forever. And so that informs a lot of what I do in terms of like, all right, you tried this thing, it didn't work out. You don't want to do this anymore. You can pivot, you can change it and try to find a way to work hard and make it better. So
That's
that's what I would
beautiful.
say.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate your parents. Shout out to your parents for the lesson.
And shout out.
And before we go and cut everybody off and have a lovely conversation, I would love to shout out where people can find you, big projects that you're working on. Kimmy's
Yeah.
incredible. Engage with her work. So here's your floor to just tell everybody where to go and what to find and what to engage with.
Lord. Okay, so I would say number one is my Instagram. I feel like I'm the most active there and you can find me there at KIMMA four Y's and an E. So it's like Kim A because I feel like that's
Okay.
how
I
that's
love
how
that.
my
Yeah.
um that's the sports of my personality in my handle. And that's also my YouTube. So you can find me there as well.
Perfect.
Vamping that up. And then, of course, LinkedIn at Kimmy Coleman. I look like I should be on a poster for someone who has passed away because there are clouds by my headshot. and I have orange hair. I do not look anything like I look now, but just find the lady with the clouds that's like smiling very confidently. LinkedIn, and then Solid Hope Pod. So that's the name of the podcast with me and my mom.
So excited.
I am so excited for that too. I think it's something that people haven't seen before, like a mother-daughter situation in like a faith-based space. So you can follow us at Solid Hope Pod, and of course Little Dove Solutions on Instagram and LinkedIn. That's a whole lot of stuff I'm
Amazing.
plugging. I'm doing
I'm gonna link
again
it
back to
all in the
the
show notes. Don't even worry about it. There'll be
yay.
pop-ups. I got you. But
Thank
please go
you.
find Kimmy everywhere she can be found. If you like her a lot, maybe we'll bring her back in another season. Who knows?
Hey,
And
that would
thank
be
you
nice.
all so much for joining us today. I'll see you next week.